Dr. Ruiz, action item E2.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I would recommend and request approval of change order number 1. It's a deductive change order for sales tax purposes for Wildlight Elementary School in the amount of $5,495,660.78.
Do I have a motion?
Motion made.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Dr. Ruiz, action item E3.
Hold on, but it's knocked me out here. So I've got to get back to the item, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Yes, Madam Chairman, I would recommend and request approval of change order number 2. It's a deductive change order for Wildlight Elementary School in the amount of $523,645.40.
Do I have a motion?
Motion made.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. So we'll move to our discussion items. I believe Dr. Falcon had asked for the exchange student policy to be added for discussion, and I know that we all received an email from a concerned parent regarding our policy for exchange students. So, Dr. Falcon, did you want to start the conversation?
Yes, I had received an email along with everyone, so I received the email. I received a follow-up email as well asking additional questions about our exchange student policy. And so I was just looking for some background information on, do we currently keep numbers on how many exchange students do we have in the district every year? I know the policy is 1 per 300 students. Do we round that up if we have 1,300 students or 1,400 students? And what we anticipate the cost when we have an exchange student, what that cost to the district is. So I didn't know who might be able to assist with that information.
And did you ask for any of that prior to the meeting?
No.
So I don't know if anyone's going to have that, off the top of their head, but we'll try. Oh, never mind. Here it comes.
I don't have that information, and I didn't know that I was going to be asked that, but this is just a copy of the board administrative rule for foreign exchange students, and as Dr. Faulkner mentioned, we have on Roman numeral 1E on the top of the second page that the maximum of 1 exchange student per 300 total high school student population per year. With regard to how that's rounded and how that's applied, it's not been an issue before that I am aware of. And I think, looking back, just or trying to reflect back, even when there was some changes made, and I couldn't tell you specifically what they were, but in August of 2002, I can tell you as a school administrator that, there's a lot of paperwork, and it's a time-consuming process, for everyone, for those who are, for the student that's coming in, for the parents of that student, for the parents of the receiving student, and for the school as well. So, I think that's probably why the maximum number was applied initially, because, it is a time-consuming process. With regard to the number of students that we've had at any one time in a particular given year, I don't have that at my fingertips or in my head this time, but we can certainly find that out. And we do have a process that just for your information, that is in our pupil progression plan is with regard to how foreign exchange students are placed, some of the things that are required and specified with regard to school responsibility, the sponsor's responsibility, in that process. One of the items, for example, foreign exchange students should be fluent in English prior to enrollment, therefore they should not be tested for qualification for ESOL service. So that's just an example of the specifics with regard to the process and some of the criteria that are applied to foreign exchange students and coming into Nassau County. And I don't think that those are much unlike, what they would do in any other school district.
Is it possible to find out and let us know maybe the next one, how many foreign exchange students we have? It would be helpful when we have to talk with this individual. Dr. Faulkner?
I was also, as just an education for the public, because I know we have exchange students, at least I know we've had some at Hilliard and Callahan. I've had one myself at Hilliard, at Fardina, I'm sure Yulee as well, is if a family's considering taking an exchange student, at what point they need to communicate with the school to see if they've already lined up, they already know who's coming. So to advise them to be contacting the schools as just an educational thing, to ensure that there's room before they go through all the paperwork on their side to take a foreign exchange student and assume that we have room. So maybe essentially making a reservation with the school in advance might be helpful.
It certainly would be, and on the second document that I gave you on with regard to what's contained in the pupil progression plan, it's the fourth from the bottom bullet. The representatives from foreign exchange programs must request permission for admission by submitting a completed packet to the principal for approval prior to May 1st of the following year. So, that sentence didn't really make sense, did it? Following should be-
May 1st for the next year.
The next should be the preceding year.
Yeah.
So, but I think any time that a parent is interested in doing that, it's never too early to contact the school and, to make them aware of it. I know that these companies and these exchange programs, and you'll see a couple of them listed on the second page. You've got Council on Standards for International Education Travels, and you have the advisory list of international education travel and exchange programs. They verify that the agency is accredited. These agencies have to go through some hoops as well. The third bullet on that page is more accurate, where it says provide the agency representative a copy of the checklist for the deadline completion date prior to May 1. So, we'll need to make a correction on our progression plan with regard to that. But Dr. Faulkner, you've been through the process having an exchange student. It's a process, and it takes some time. It takes a lot of effort on the part of a lot of different people. But if you want, some numbers or any other information about that, I'd be glad to try to retrieve that for you.
I think it's very helpful to know that we already have in here that by May 1st of the preceding year, so that they can plan, because then they could say, well, we already have our quota, our limit here,
Right.
and so maybe for the next term or for the next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else on this item? We'll move to discussion item F2, lighting of student parking lots for student activity, athletes. Dr. Faulkner, I think this was yours?
Yes, I just wanted to bring this back to discussion because when Joey was here talking about synergistic, I had brought up about the lighting, and one of the comments that he had made was it possibly being not a policy per se, but a standard of maybe someone would have to make a decision to keep the lights on to a certain point uniformly. So as we're heading into the season of athletics and we're going into winter, it's going to be getting darker earlier. I just still do not feel like I have a secure answer on what exactly we're doing to ensure that those lights are being left on, when buses are coming back late or they get delayed at a game, how we're ensuring that. One of the things I had thought about when discussing with Mr. Burnett was, I know at Hilliard, I don't know how the other schools where they drop off, the buses tend to drop off in the teacher parking lot, instead of in the circular loop over there by the football field where the student parking is. So I don't know if the buses can fit on that circle where then they can just easily go to their cars, where it's safer for them to go than having to come across campus. Because initially I was thinking it would be just like in the student parking lot, but at Hilliard, you're walking from the teacher parking lot across campus to then the student parking lot. So,
Yeah, I think it's it's just an issue of logistics and scheduling. And just like we do with our other events, after-school events, the schools need to make some allowance or at least specify the times that they need in areas that they need those lights on, and we can have them on. I mean, that's, at this point, unless Mr. Burnett has some additional information, I mean, that's pretty much the practical way to do it. And that should work.
Actually, yeah, one thing I may could help answer your question or make me feel a little more comfortable with an answer to your question. And like I said earlier, nobody is perfect, and we do try. But I would ask that I will get with Mark Durham, and he and I, Joey, will sit down and try to put maybe something in writing together to disseminate to the principals, because ultimately they're the first point of contact. And then they can disseminate that information as they see fit to their athletic staff, so that if, for example, they didn't request it, they can text Joey or call Joey, and Joey can, from his phone, turn the lights on.
thank you.
So that's just something that just kind of hit me a minute ago, but I want to make that offer. So Mark and I will get together and come up with something and meet with Joey and maybe put something in writing and get it out to the schools.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Could you share that with us after it's written?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else on this item?
Like I said, it's just logistics and schedule.
Okay, we'll move to staff.
It's not easy. I'm sorry, ma'am.
That's okay. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Moving to staff reports. Anything on Wildlight Elementary this evening?
The project continues, is, to the best of my knowledge, on schedule, unless Mr. Burnett has anything else to add, and we'll be opening August 2017.
That is the plan.
Any questions from the board? Okay. I'm not aware of any old business, board.
Actually, I do.
Mr.
I'm
Dionis?
sorry, Madam Chairman, I should have put that on the agenda earlier. Dr. Lewis, our land sale on Citrona. And I meant to call you on that, and I apologize. It's gone through or still in the process?
It's still in the process with regard to the title insurance and trying to clear up that issue. I think I mentioned at one of the meetings with regard to a section of Gum Street that was on that property.
Yes.
And anyway, our attorney has researched that, and along with the title company, and been in contact with the attorneys for the buyer. And I haven't had a chance to call her this week with school starting and everything, but I think they'll have that cleared up hopefully within the next week or two.
Okay. Still moving in the right direction.